life and living things. The things in these pictures may look very different from each other, but they all have one significant thing in common: they are all alive. Living things can be identified because they have certain characteristics. They all carry out the same life processes, although they do not all do these in exactly the same way. A cat moves very quickly when it chases a mouse. An ivy plant, on the other hand, moves very slowly as it grows up a wall towards the light. Biologists try to find out more about life and living things by studying animals and plants, and in particular, how they behave. Life processes. All living things have 7 characteristics or life processes. Animals feed to produce energy and to grow. They eat other living things. Plants make their own food by photosynthesis. Animals only grow until they reach a certain height. Plants, however, grow continuously throughout their lives. All living things produce waste such as carbon dioxide and water. The removal of waste from the body is called excretion. Did you know, on Earth there are more than 1,500,000 different kinds of animals and about 300,000 different kinds of plants? Animals move by using their legs, wings, or fins. Plants move by growing towards or away from something. Animals use sense organs such as eyes and ears to respond to what is going on around them. Plants do not have sense organs but can still react by growing towards things such as light and water. All living things must reproduce to replace those that die. Living things need energy to grow, to move, and to enable the body to work properly. Energy is released from food in a process called respiration. Did you know? Plant growth movements in response to a stimulus are called tropism. Phototropism is the response of moving towards light. Hydrotropism is the response of moving towards water. Cells. All living things are made up of one or more cells. Some living things, such as bacteria, exist as a single cell. These are called unicellular organisms. Most animals and plants, however, cells are microscopic. This means they are very tiny and can only be seen by using a microscope. When you look at an object through a microscope, the object appears larger because the microscope magnifies what you see. The most common type of microscope is called a light microscope because it uses light to illuminate the object. The diagram shows a typical light microscope. Using a light microscope, the object is put on a glass microscope slide and usually covered with a cover slip. The slide is placed on the stage of the microscope and held in place with the stage clips. The hole in the stage allows light to pass through from a light source below. The diaphragm can be adjusted to allow more or less light to pass through the hole. Light shines through the object and into the objective lens. Light passes from the objective lens through the eye. The focus knobs adjust the distance between the stage and the objective lens to create a clear image. Light microscopes usually have more than one objective lens. These are arranged on a turret which can be rotated so that you can use lenses with different magnifications to look at the object. X5, X10, X20, and X40 objective lenses are most popular. The eyepiece lens is usually X10. If the eyepiece magnification is X10 and the objective lens magnification is X20, the total magnification is 10 by 20 equals 200 times X200. Did you know, an electron microscope achieves a much higher magnification than a light microscope? This is because it passes a stream of electrons through the object instead of light. Animal and plant cells have similar jobs to do. They take in food, release energy, get rid of waste, grow, and reproduce. Their structures, however, are not the same. Animal cell versus plant cell. Animal cell versus plant cell. The diagrams show an animal cell from inside, a human cheek, and a plant cell from a leaf. Animal and plant cells have 3 similarities. A nucleus, which is the control center of the cell. The nucleus contains the information which controls everything that goes on in the cell. The cytoplasm is all the living matter except for the nucleus. It is a jelly-like substance which is fluid, can flow. cell membrane is a thin skin around the outside of the cell. It prevents the cell contents from escaping, but it does allow substances like water and other small molecules to cross in and out of the cell. In addition to these, plant cells have three other important features. The cell wall is a rigid, firm coating round the outside of the cell membrane. It helps the plant cell keep its shape. Chloroplasts contain a green chemical called chlorophyll. This is the chemical which enables green plants to use the sun's energy to make food during photosynthesis. The vacuole is a large space in the middle of the cell. It is filled with a fluid called cell sap. Animal cell. Nucleus. Cytoplasm. Cell membrane. Plant cell. Cell wall. Cell membrane. Large vacuole. Cytoplasm. Green chloroplasts. Plant cell. Special cells for special jobs. Humans and other multicellular organisms are made up of different types of cells. Each cell is suited to the job it has to do. Nerve cells have long thin fibers which carry messages from one part of the body to another. Epithelial cells are thin and flat. They are found in layers covering surfaces such as the skin, lining of the blood vessels, and the alimentary canal. These cells help in protection and absorption. Pollen grains are cells. Some pollen grains have a spiky surface to help them stick to the bodies of insects. Others have tiny wings to enable them to be carried by the wind. Both adaptations help in pollination. Red blood cells carry oxygen round the body. They have a large surface area to pick up lots of oxygen. Cells, tissues, and organs. Cells divide and grow to make more cells like them. A group of similar cells doing the same job is called tissue. Muscle tissue is made from cells whose job is to contract and cause movement. Different tissues combine to make an organ. The stomach is the organ that digests food. Muscle tissue, nerve tissue, and blood tissue are just some of the types of tissue that make up the stomach. Meat is mainly muscle tissue. Nerve tissue. Organs work together to form organ systems. Organ systems carry out much larger jobs than a single organ is able to do. The digestive system is made up of various organs such as the stomach, liver, and intestines. Other examples of organ systems are the circulatory system which carries blood around the body, and the nervous system which carries messages from one part of the body to another. Organs together make up an organism. An organism is something that is able to survive on its own. Did you know? There is a tropical seaweed called caulopa which is a single cell. It can grow up to 1 meter long.